Test, testing.
Testing, 1, 2, 3.
Welcome,
Hello,
everybody.
everyone. Welcome to Seven
Episode-
Sisters.
Yeah, episode 5.
Episode 5.
It is episode 5.
That's gone so quick, don't you think?
It has, yeah.
Yeah, we've literally, this week, again, it's been manic.
Yeah. I've
As
been on
usual.
my first set of night shifts, which
Yeah.
is interesting.
Cara's been on nights. How
you've
did you
been-
find that?
Yeah, it's all right. It's just more like now I'm trying to get my body back into
Yeah.
not being asleep right now and staying awake.
Yeah, it's not
Yeah,
easy,
no.
that life. But yeah, so it is now episode 5, and we put a poll out
Yep.
on our Instagram. It was quite even, wasn't it?
It was quite even, yeah.
It won, the one with the conversation we're talking about today, it won by like, I think 2-3%.
Which means that we'll probably do the next episode
We'll do that
as
next
the
week.
other bit.
Yeah.
So then we've got the topic already.
Yeah. What are we talking about today then?
We are talking about our college and school experiences today.
Yeah. Sort of similar to last week, but more in depth of how our
Yeah.
experiences were. And
How different they were, I suppose.
yeah, we're literally
Put
polar
my
opposite.
glasses on.
No.
What is that?
That's a security thing.
Wow. That was an interesting intro.
Yeah.
Some will say.
That was
Seems to be
entertaining.
whenever we intro in this house, something goes wrong.
It's always the start, isn't it? Hopefully it'll be smooth now, but we don't know. What was we saying?
We was talking about what this podcast is going to be about, our college school experiences,
Yeah.
how different they both were to each other.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that's what this episode is.
So, should we start?
Yeah, we're starting school first, yeah?
Mm.
Okay.
Let's start chronological order.
Yeah. So school, for me, I didn't really enjoy school. I found it quite overwhelming at times, to put it one way. I went to one school. It was called Archer's Court. And then I moved from there, I think in year 8, I want to say, or I was maybe just going into year 8. I moved to Astor, and then I finished my school years at Astor, which in a way I kind of like, maybe staying at Archer's was the better option, but because there was more performing arts at Astor, that's the reason I moved there, because there wasn't much for it at the school I was at before.
No.
And I thought, oh, that'd be better for me in the long run, be able to do more and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was my entrance to school.
Yeah. So my entrance to school was that I literally
You just went to Astor, didn't you?
Yeah, I just went to Astor, and then one of the main reasons was because of the performing arts sector of the school. It's always been like, from our local area anyway, it's probably one of the most, I don't know anymore actually.
No,
but
there's one in Folkestone, isn't there? But
yeah, but
I
don't even think that's great anymore.
Okay.
I don't think I think all the schools recently
schools
have gone, I don't know, but
I don't think Astor even does any performing arts anymore.
no, I don't think it's
because they've changed like heads and that.
Yeah. So yeah, when we were at school, it was very like for the performing, not even just performing arts, for the arts in general,
which worked for us because we both wanted to do that. So it was kind of like we'd be able to sort of do after school clubs in that, and like at lunchtime I used to go and do like music or
and I went to like trips to London with the school to watch theatre and stuff. So I performed at Move It.
You did, yeah.
With
Is that with the school?
Yeah, one time I didn't perform on the stage, but we went up to Move It and stuff. So yeah, it was really good for that side of things.
There was opportunities at that school to do different things that you probably wouldn't do at a generic normal school, I suppose.
Yeah,
because they had like connections. I went to Russia with Astor actually. When I say that I had a bad school experience, that was more on the majority of like friendships and groups of friends. It wasn't actually the school itself. It was the
no, but they also didn't do the best.
They didn't help me with it.
They tried to, but it just felt like it made it worse.
Yeah,
everything. So backstory on that: I went to school. I had a really good like group of friends.
Yeah, you did.
I think I was just lucky with it is like sometimes it is luck with who is in your year, like who's going to that school, and I had pretty much the whole school life was good for me. Bliss.
Yeah.
Smooth sailing, shall I say.
Yeah.
But Kyra, on the other hand, was the opposite.
Yeah, my school experience was quite different. Like I joined, and I think I was in that category of like at first I sort of like trying to find out who
you joined late, I suppose.
yeah,
that
who works for me.
probably
Everyone was already in their groups. I
friends,
remember
yeah.
walking in on my first day and looking around thinking, what the hell have I like let myself in for here? Like there was just groups. And I remember on my second day at school, one of the year 11s at the time booted a ball at my head, hit me right in the back of the head so hard that I just wanted to cry, but I thought if I
but
cry
that
right now,
not on purpose, right?
no, he done it. He done it. He knew I was standing there.
Really?
He done it as a funny thing, but obviously he didn't
Yeah,
intentionally mean to. People were spiteful at school, spiteful,
Mm.
and it sticks with me. And if I ever see him, I'll tell him that as well.
I used to get booted all the time, but it was never.
Yeah, this was because I was only 2 days new. I was like, it was quite overwhelming for me.
Yeah.
And no one really knew. Like people knew me.
Yeah.
But I didn't know them.
Yeah.
And it was all like, oh, that's the new girl Kyra and all this. And yeah, I kind of drifted in and out of friendships. I have friends that I still would speak to and say hello to from school. But none of my friendships as such have stuck. Apart from my friend Victoria, I see her, but obviously I knew her from primary school anyway, and then she went to Astor.
Yeah.
But again, me and her hung around with different groups at school.
Yeah.
But we're still really, really like close friends. But
I think
we were into different things again.
Yeah. I think it's normal for like, I think there's a lot of people that think when you're at school that they're the only friends you're ever going to have for the rest of your life. And at school, I feel it does seem like that. It's like, oh, right, these are my friends for life. I'm never really going to have this chance to make these friends, because once you hit, going to work and stuff, obviously you have work colleagues, but like you think, where else am I going to meet friends? So, but I think it's so normal to not be in contact with your friends from school.
Yeah, I mean, I can literally, 5 is giving like too much, to be honest, but I can count on this hand how many people I speak to from like regularly from school.
Yeah.
If I see people that I went to school with, I will always say hello, and because that's how I am.
Yeah, I mean, I could count on my hand. Probably less, actually.
You and minors.
I think it's probably 1 or 2.
Yeah.
I don't even think there's that many. I have one school friend that I grew up with, and we have known each other since we were like 2 or 3, and we're still in contact. So that's the only really person, I think. But at the time of my school experience, I didn't have a bad experience at school.
No, you didn't.
I just drifted.
I used to dread going to school. I used to try and get out of school every morning.
Yeah, but you were bullied.
I've got a sore throat.
Yeah.
I can't go to school.
Yeah.
And then she'd be like, well, the bus will come and get you if you don't go. And like, she would make me go, which is good. I'm glad she did. But at the time, I was
But you were going through a lot, and you was
my
bullied.
Experience was quite negative, to be honest.
Yeah.
And a lot of it sticks with me. And I think it's like, you don't hold on to things anymore, but I do still think, God, like, I can't believe I actually went through that. It was quite traumatic to go through at such a young age. I remember being ill, really sick, like in bed, and I had phone calls coming through, and like it was horrible. It was really awful.
Yeah.
But yeah, made me who I am. So
yeah,
and I can talk about it openly without feeling
any type of way. Or feeling like it's gonna
easily
care, like you care about it. Yeah. But I don't think that school. I think everyone has different experiences at school, and I think it does matter like who you have around you at school, and also your support outside of school.
My support outside of school is brilliant. My support within school and like senior members of staff was crap.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, you can leave 10 minutes earlier.
Yeah, which apparently stops bullies if you leave 10 minutes earlier, and it actually meant I had to leave 10 minutes earlier as well.
Ruined her bit of school as well.
No,
it
didn't.
Different.
But everyone kept asking me why I'm leaving early, and like I didn't want to openly say like, oh, because my sister's like getting bullied, but also why like it did make it a bit awkward. If anything, it didn't help the situation. I remember when we was doing that, and I was like, it makes us look like aliens to everyone else, and it was just like a thing that they said, oh, at least you won't have to then walk out with everyone. But it's like that's not stopping what's happening on a daily basis. So I don't know whether schools have got better with bullying or not, but I think it's got.
I don't know.
I am scared for my children to go to school. Like that's how I feel about school, because
I make sure to homeschool them, didn't I?
Yeah, I just think like the stuff
so
that these
go through it.
Yeah, and like I feel
but
like
at the same time, I look at it and think, yeah, it was a negative experience, but it's made me who I am. So
Yeah.
it's made me grow in
But
ways
you
that I
could have,
maybe wouldn't
you
have
could
if
have gone
I.
the other way though.
Yeah, I could have gone one way or the other, but I think because of my performing arts, which I dedicated my life to,
Yeah,
that
that
is
did
the
help.
reason why I didn't end up going down the wrong path.
Yeah.
And that is partly probably the reason why I did get a bit of grief at school, because I was the one who wanted to be at lunchtime going for rehearsals, doing different things.
Yeah, not
After
the.
school, I wouldn't go to the park. I'd go and do my dance, my
Yeah, they
singing.
didn't like it.
And that was because I was different, and I wasn't going down the park and having a can of Frosty Jacks. No, thank you. I'm okay. And you may think I'm a stuck up
What
woman
was the
for that.
Frosty Jack?
Some horrible weird beer thing.
Oh, I've never heard of
You
it.
could get it really cheap, and it was like a massive bottle. And I'm like, no, don't want it. Or Lambrini was the other one.
Oh, I love a Lambrini.
It's horrible.
I love it. I used to call it Lamborghini. Like I said to
Lamborghini?
Mum, can I have a Lamborghini?
Yeah, anyway, that's how I feel about that.
Well, that is school can be really, really terrifying for some people, but other people it's smooth sailing. So I don't think it's to do with, I think it's literally to do with who you're with, if you're lucky, if you're not lucky, the teachers. So yeah, but again, it does shape you.
And that's it. Like, I think at some point I even thought to myself, oh, I better start going to the park and doing this and doing that
to fit in,
because I felt like I wasn't. And I had friends that I went to primary school with, and we were friends, but they, again, like, we were friends, they were into different things to me, and that's fine and that's okay. And I kind of felt like I had to be a little bit a part of that. And then Mum used to say to me, you're not going there again, are you? Like, pick you up from if you go to the park or whatever. And she used to like be on at me like big time, and I was like, well, Mum, I need to fit in. I'm like an odd person.
Yeah, you didn't.
And then she was like, well, you're going to turn into this and you're going to turn into that. And I was like, well, I've just got to try and fit in. And then I did do that for a little bit, and then I thought, nah, this isn't for me.
Yeah.
And that's when I went a bit more.
Do you know what
bad again?
I find funny is that this is the only thing that I've ever thought, like, I'm just going to do it to fit in. You know, when you're on a night out, and I don't smoke, and I, like, a lot of my friends do or whatever, and everyone used to go out to the smoking area, and I used to be sat on the table or wherever we are on my own.
Yeah, because otherwise you are on your own.
Everyone goes out together. It's a social environment, going to the smoking area, and it's like, oh, we'll go for a smoke.
That's a really social thing, isn't it?
It is. And I used to sit on the table, and one day I thought to myself, do you know what? I'm not sitting there anymore. I'm just going to go and buy myself a vape, so I could actually just fit in with the fact that everyone goes out to the smoking area. Because I used to go out there sometimes and just stand there, but I'd feel like a lemon because I'd just be stood there. You know, I'm freezing cold on a winter's night.
Yeah.
They're all smoking fine, like they're doing something. I was just stood there like freezing out. I was like, I'm going to sit back on the table. Yeah. So there was a time where I had to fit in, and I literally brought a vape just so I could go out and go out to the smoking area.
It's bad, isn't it?
It's really bad. That didn't last very long because
the fact that you felt like the pressure of actually having to do that. Whereas I've never really like everyone smoked, that was normal. And I always remember one of my friends at the time, she said, Cora, can you hold my fag? And I went, what? Like, as if to say, like, is this a joke? And she's like, yeah. And I went, I don't even know how to, this is what I said to her, I don't even know how to hold it. I went, she went, like this. And then she put it in my fingers, and I held it, and I was like holding it out here like that. And then I remember, like, I was like, she took it back, and I remember going like that, smelling my fingers and thinking, oh my God, I could never ever smoke. You smell that thing?
Yeah, the fingers. Yeah. God. I mean, with vapes, doesn't get that. Maybe I smoke vape more.
But then vaping's such a big thing now, isn't it? Because everyone's vaping, and then there's people who have never smoked and they're vaping and they're addicted to their vape. So.
Yeah, I met my friend the other day, and I've never seen this type of vape. I was like, oh, is this a new vape? You literally could see the liquid. I was like, they're inventing vapes like no tomorrow.
It's a literal battery, that.
Yeah, and she did say, Kate, if you're watching, you won't mind saying, she said that she didn't like this type of vape because she could see the liquid, and knowing that like when the liquid goes down, that's going
in her body.
Yeah, she's like, it does, like, and I was like, yeah, that is mad. But
will it stop you though?
No, probably not. I mean, them photos on the smoking things. Anyway, while we're speaking about smoking,
put you up, put you off.
How did we get on this conversation?
We're talking about pressure,
fitting in.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
It was you who started that conversation.
yeah, about
That's
smoking.
another topic for another day, mate.
Yeah, I literally used to. I don't know why. I used
Oh
to
no,
just
we
wanna...
are a little bit.
No,
Some
I'm not. I
people's
don't care if
no,
anyone
some
smokes.
people will
Well,
say
my
we're
friends
snobby
smoke.
though
My
for saying
boyfriend
that,
smokes, so I don't
but
really.
I think that we're not snobby. We just choose not to do it.
Yeah, but I also don't care if people do smoke. It's not my
Well,
body.
no, me either.
No.
No, that is true. It's not our body.
Yeah, I don't want smoky hands, so I'm not smoking.
Probably
Like
say
what you
that
say.
all the iced coffees I drink's bad for me.
Yeah,
With the
everything,
caffeine.
everything.
That's an addiction in itself, isn't
Yeah,
it?
if it's not in
When you
moderation, it's
think
bad
about
for
it.
you. Right. Yeah. So school, pretty
Both
much.
different experiences.
Yeah.
Some similarities, some not so similar.
Some not so similar. I feel like sometimes like my tutor, you know, my tutor used to do headstands. I think we've
Yeah,
spoke
he's the
about
one
him.
that kicked me out. Wasn't
Oh yeah, we have spoke about him. Oh, he was great, but I also think you never forget. Like, I think it's crazy how teachers have an impact on your whole life. Like, I will
That's
never,
weird, isn't it?
yeah, I will never forget them teachers. Like my
I've
main,
forgot them all.
really,
Yeah, there is one teacher that I remember who I really liked, which was Mr. Esdale, and he was the one who done all the performing arts at the school. And he's the only teacher that I still see quite a lot actually, and I always say hello to him or wave at him in the car.
yeah, but
The other
even the
teachers,
bad,
one of them lives in Deal, the one that kept sending me home for early for 15 minutes.
yeah, but
I give him dirty
no, but
looks.
I mean, even if it's a bad experience with a teacher, you don't not remember them. You will always
of
remember
course
them.
no,
That's what I mean.
yeah, but they had like it's a negative impact for me,
Impact,
so you
but
try and forget.
they've still had an impact on your life, and they always will, because
Yeah,
you're
true, that's
most
true.
vulnerable and
That is true.
most adaptable. I think
At
that's the
that
word.
age.
At that age, like you are turning into your adult self, and they are the ones that are there through
Yeah,
all
no,
of
you're
that.
right. You are
Especially
right.
your tutor, like he's there
I can't
from.
remember who my tutor was.
Well,
Oh
mine.
no.
Yeah, it was the lady.
Yeah,
Wasn't
it
it?
was.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know who it is.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
really
from year
bad of me.
7 till you know, leave school, they are there. So I will never ever forget my tutor.
Good for you, darling.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's a good
You
thing though.
enjoy
He was
that.
all right though.
You enjoy them fond memories.
But yeah, I just think it's mad how much, if you are a teacher out there, even like you can have a massive impact on a child's life, and that's quite a cool thing to know. To know that if you've done a good impact, obviously.
Yeah.
If you've done a bad one, then more for you.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
And that's the school experience rounded up, I reckon. Yeah. So
Yep.
moving on to college experience.
Yep.
So me and Summer were both fortunate enough to be able to go to Performing Arts College, which for mum and dad was probably a very expensive time in at their life.
Yep.
For sure, from my side of things, definitely, because mum had to pay for like my accommodation and things like that, and then obviously dad would transfer me money for my food, and I did get a little job whilst I was there, but obviously I left home to go to Swindon. I went, which is like 3.5 hours. When I just turned 16 because I was younger in my year. So when we left school, I think I hadn't turned 16 at that point. I was turning
You
16.
would have turned 16 in July, then you would have gone in September.
Yeah, but when I left school, it was in
No,
June.
yeah.
So I left school 15 and then
So young, isn't it?
then turned 16 and then went to Wilkes Academy, it was called, in Swindon. And then the first year I lived in like almost like uni accommodation in a sense. It was like a big building full of little rooms. Honestly, when I think about it, I can't believe I lived in that condition.
Oh, it was disgusting.
It's actually awful. So me and my friend Robin, who went to college with me, she also went to the same dance school as me, so we knew each other. We both got into the same college, and we sort of said to each other, should we try and get the accommodation together? Because obviously we're familiar to each other, which we did. Now, when I tell you that where me and Robin lived for a year was the most tiniest space that you could ever probably imagine, actually I think it's illegal. I generally do.
Doesn't happen
and now I'm
anymore.
thinking about it.
I think you were the last year that they let it happen.
And in that time, I don't think it happens anymore.
No.
So what I'm saying is so we had single beds, like that, quite small single beds, weren't they? Mine was the nearest to the window, and Robin's was literally, so there was probably walking gap that much in between our beds, like that. we had a little tiny cabinet there, and she was there. Then at the bottom of the bed was a kitchen, like a kitchen. So
Yeah.
my feet were there. The kitchen was literally there.
Like probably about 30 centimetres away.
Bearing in mind, Robin was vegetarian, so she ate all sorts of like different food to me.
Yeah.
I ate meat and stuff like that, so you can imagine the
For
stench.
her as well.
Actually, the stench that was in our room is quite awful. So yeah, that was quite an experience, definitely a humbling experience in one way. And we had the kitchen, and then literally you'd walk round, and there was a little shower and a toilet.
The thing is,
if you're doing a poo,
you'd screwed yourself over really, because they said
you should have gone on
I
our
think
own.
yeah, they said like, is anyone willing to like share? And obviously they said yeah, because they knew each other. So actually straight away, but also you like, if you was to share with anyone, you'd rather obviously share with someone
you know rather than a stranger, because some people did share and they shared with strangers. But like my friend Lydia, she landed right on her feet, I'll tell you that, because she had a massive room.
Yeah,
she had a lovely massive room.
Was all right as well,
Josh had a lovely massive room.
Yes.
They both had double beds. James had a massive room.
Yeah.
So actually, yeah, I really shit out.
But I remember, I think it was the year after when you were, I think it was mentioned that they wouldn't be doing that anymore. Like your room was.
So actually, I think since then, I don't know how true this is, but since then that it's actually like someone had come in that building
and probably said
this is illegal. So
100%.
basically, Mum probably would have been entitled to get money back at some point. Because it wasn't cheap either. It really wasn't cheap.
No.
It was like, I think something like, I want to say £350, £400 a month just for my accommodation.
Yeah,
that's mad, isn't it?
Back then as well.
That was a lot.
Yeah.
And it's
well, not
that
back
still
then,
is a
but
lot.
like no, but that's not. It'll probably be more now.
Yeah, no, but what I mean is that is a lot for what I was living in.
What you were living in, yeah. Oh, 100%.
So yeah, so that was that, and then the second year I moved into a house. So I moved into a house with Lydia, Josh, and James. We all lived in a four bedroom sort of 3-story house. So Lydia's room was right at the top. She had like the attic room, which actually was probably the best room because it was out of the way of everything. And then you come down, and we had Josh, me, and James, our rooms. And then downstairs we had quite a nice, biggish. It was quite a dark house, but it was quite.
It was all right. It was like a townhouse, wasn't it?
A big, like, open plan sort of living room area, and then a big long kitchen. It's kind of like our nan and granddad's house, really.
It's a townhouse.
Yeah, that sort of like. Yeah, that. So yeah, so I lived there for a year, and then we went into third year. And I only ended up doing, I think I done 2.5 years. I left basically like 5 months early, because I actually got really sick and was not in a very good place mentally and physically, really.
Yeah.
I was like, where the doctor said that I was like borderline.
She was so
I was
tiny.
really underweight, very underweight.
Like,
I got ill, didn't I?
But also, this is another thing with college experience and uni, I think, is you don't eat properly.
So I went through a stage of, because basically everyone at Wilkes was more commercial, sort of like dancers, whereas I was more singing. So I kind of like was really trying to be like better at dancing and stuff like that. And then also like there's a lot of pressure on you of like, you should be this size. You need
in the industry anyway.
Yeah, it was quite intense, and I think I allowed it to pressure me, get into my head. At one point I was just drinking coffee, like every time I felt hungry I'd drink coffee, and that was it. And that's where I've got a bit of a funny stomach now, I think, because it's kind of ruined my like system almost. And like I just literally was running off nothing apart from that bit of caffeine, which then probably didn't even work as caffeine. It worked as like a meal replacement in a sense.
Yeah.
So yeah, I got really quite ill and ended up coming home and then doing my own thing, really.
Yeah.
Had to kind of find my feet, because it was a bit of a weird one, because obviously everyone else was still finishing their last sort of few months, and I had branched off into the real world. But also I got into the X Factor that year, and I got accepted, and my college.
You want to talk about that?
Eh?
You want to talk about that now? Or do you want to leave that for another
No, I was just going to say about the college head person. basically said to me, you need to choose whether you want to do that or stay at college.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
And
I didn't
at
know.
that time I stayed at college, and then I left about a month later.
Yeah.
Because I was,
Yeah. But also where you were physically active as well, like obviously with performing arts, you're always on the go.
Oh, yeah.
Like the
you're burning
lessons are what time did you used to start?
I used to start at 8.
Not anymore though, actually, and we'll talk about this. I was
yeah.
speaking to someone about this earlier. I
Really?
don't know if you know. Yeah,
No,
go on.
I don't. Start at 8, and I normally would get home around 7, half 7.
Yeah, so it's a full day, like exercise.
And
you're
that's
literally
like 8 classes a day.
yeah.
7 classes
Well, listen
a day.
to this. Nowadays, that doesn't happen.
What don't?
There's so many people in performing art colleges that you will do a day and you will do, so you have a class at 9 a.m, ballet, whatever, and then you'll have a 3.5 hour break because there's just not enough classes for
All
how many
staff, like, to teach it.
Yeah, and then you'll come back.
What
You have to
college is
come
that?
back. I don't want to say. And then you'll come back and you'll do another class at midday, and then you have to go back, and then you come back at 7 p.m. You're literally like
7 p.m.
Yeah, you're
What,
literally
to do an evening class.
Yeah, it's just the way.
Oh, that's ridiculous.
This is obviously just one
I mean,
college who I've
it's probably
spoke
better
to.
for you, but
No, it's not.
No,
You're not getting any money like that.
No,
If you think of the money, like we literally done
yeah, no, you're
set
right.
like 8 a.m. until 5 p.m. I think my day was
You're
full
not getting
on.
your money's worth for sure.
You're not getting like I think I would have I definitely as a parent would have a heart attack knowing that my daughter is just doing 3 classes, and if you know college funds and fees, they are extortionate. You would want your child to be doing
since we were
100%. You would want your child to be doing the whole day, 5 days a week. Doesn't happen anymore because they're physically like there's not enough staff, not enough classes to cater for everyone, so they have to split it up. So yeah, it's gone from the absolute opposite now, I think. And so my college experience, I went to the centre in Maidstone. I actually ended up staying at home until I think it was 18. I didn't leave at 16. I decided to leave at 18.
You went a bit later. Yeah, you went a bit later.
I'd done my A levels, and then I obviously went to college after that. I was thinking of doing 16, but I'd seen Kyra do like leave at 16, and it's so young. Like, and I was like, I was a home.
Yeah, you was a little.
I was
bit
a home.
needy,
well,
I would say,
yeah, and also I actually ended up commuting to Maidstone every day. I didn't like my friend. She ended up having a place and staying up there, but it's only like 40 minutes away, and I was like, I can commute that.
Is it? Traffic ain't great though.
No, but I used to get the train. Get the train, and it actually worked out cheaper to commute up there than what it was to obviously like have accommodation up there.
I think you did think about it, didn't you?
I did think about it, but I was like, nah, I'll be able to commute. It was intense. I had a job as well down here, and I literally used to get the train at like 5:30 in the morning, be at college for 7, and then I'd finish at about 5 p.m, and then I'd go straight to my job at the Marquis for restaurant. I wouldn't finish there till about 11:30, 12, and I used to say to them, please, I need to go home, because I'd have to be up at 5 a.m. for another day of college. So it was intense doing the commuting, but I feel like pretty much my whole experience for college was kind of ruined because of COVID. Literally,
you had a very different experience, didn't you? In that
sense. The first year was fine, and then the second year, that's when COVID hit, and it was like, okay, everyone go home.
2 years.
Yeah. So my course that I done was 2 years, and it was like, right, everyone go home. So obviously I was at home anyway, and we done all our lessons on Zoom, and it was horrible. Like, and I speak to some of the girls that I've obviously met at college, and they say the exact same thing. Like, it just made the whole experience just put a dampener on it, because we wasn't getting that social interaction of college, wasn't getting that one-to-one with the teacher. We'd literally go on the Zoom, if anything, you'd put your feet on the camera, you wouldn't be able to put your whole face on it, so this half of the body is doing nothing, and you just focus on the feet, or you'd have your face in it and your feet aren't doing anything. And us lazy girls obviously was going, we're not actually doing anything right now, we're just making out. The teachers have got about 20 people that they're trying to look at on the Zoom call. They're not looking at you, and they're
probably not even looking at you anyway.
No. And also the money that we were paying. We was paying the same
I
amount of money.
can't believe that they didn't like
do like a
like drop the fees.
But
like,
then
that
it
is-
wasn't.
but that's ridiculous.
I know, but it wasn't the college's fault that COVID hit.
Yeah, but still,
a lot of places were screwed over pretty much. And
mad.
then so that was my experience, and I ended up saying to myself, this isn't for me anymore. And I felt like I'd let like mum and dad down, if anything.
Yeah, I think we both felt like that at some point.
Yeah,
I definitely did.
Yeah,
I went through phases of that.
Yeah, but I when I told them, I was like, and they were like, just do what makes you happy. I mean, dad's always wanted me to get like a
normal job,
a proper job. Yeah, as he says. Mum's obviously always, they've both been really supportive.
The thing is though, mum was there for every single rehearsal, every single class, whereas dad was working his butt off. So he was the one who was, he was making all this money and then giving us the money to be able to do that. And mum was actually living it with us. Yeah. So like
her life,
would look at it so different, because like she'd go to work and then in the evening she'd be doing that with us, whereas dad would still be working. Yeah. So it's kind of like she lived, breathed all of that with us. So it's kind of so it was probably harder for her than it was for dad. Yeah. In that sense.
Yeah. But I enjoyed college. I had not like a bad experience from it, but I did feel the pressure. I don't think my college was as bad it was a smaller college compared to what you went to.
Also yours had been going longer, was quite new, quite fresh, wasn't it? I think it had only been open 2 years previous to me starting. Yeah. So it was obviously still like finding its feet, I suppose.
Yeah, but I think the pressure on yours was a lot more than mine.
Oh, it was, yeah.
Because you had, I suppose it was a bigger college. I
always remember like some bloke teaching us a class, and we had to hold the plank for like a really long song. I can't remember what it was, but and he'd come over and he'd shout in your face, "Shake like a shitting dog," like that, and like literally you feel his sweat just drip on you. I mean, he was a really good looking man, but it still didn't take away the fact I was shit scared of him.
Yeah, no, there was definitely them teachers at college. You never forget them either.
No, you don't.
I had one at my college, and every single class I'd do with him, I'd make sure I worked my absolute butt off. I just wanted, like, you just knew if you wasn't, if you weren't hard work, if you weren't doing as much as you could, he'd know, and he'd call you out on it, and it's like you just didn't want to be that one.
That is the industry.
Oh yeah, and you had to experience that, because then when you go to auditions and stuff, they are so cutthroat that if you hadn't had that discipline, you'd be like, "Oh my god!"
Didn't we? A few times.
Yeah, really interesting.
In, like, proper sort of like
it was for show. It's for Eugenius, wasn't it? So yeah, it was like what's it called? A West End show.
So they like cut you there and then on the spot, and it's like da 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 da. Bye. Yeah. And then there's like people left, and it's like
it is so cutthroat, and it's like, oh, some people would be like, "Can you tell me why I got cut?" It's like there's no reason.
Ain't got time to tell you. They just cut you, and
not
that's
for you.
it. Go, please.
You can't take it personal though. But the industry,
you can't, but that's why they try and make you like you're in the industry or whatever.
Be mean, basically.
So that you know what to expect.
Yeah. Whereas if I always find that there was always some people that sailed through college and didn't always got the main roles, always got everything, and then they've come out of college and they're trying to find work, and they were so used to getting everything handed to them because at college they were amazing, and you are, if you're one of the best, then that's great, but when you're coming outside of the outside world, you're never going to be the best in that room.
I can count on my hand how many people are doing it. It's like a full-time thing.
Yeah, I know. It is a hard industry.
It's
not easy, but
it's not what it's made out to be in my eyes, personally.
Yeah, well, it's just, I think it is just a hard industry, and
hard industry, even harder now after COVID, because there's not as many jobs for it. No, I mean, like I said, even with my singing, it's harder now because not so many businesses have spare money to pump into like live music and stuff like that. And I think it's the same with like putting on shows and things like that. It's expensive.
Oh yeah, it's,
you got everything that comes.
And then once it's on, if it doesn't do well, it's like, okay, we've got no more funds now to keep this show going. Yeah. And you're there like, okay, we've done like a run. There's always like a run of like a month or whatever, and you see how it goes. And if it doesn't go well or get the publicity that you
that
was
it needs,
expecting
yeah.
or needs for then more investors to invest in the show, it will be like we've got to pull the show, and then you're left there. You thought you had a job that could be for like years if you're good, and then it's gone, and you have to start auditioning again. And
Yeah.
we do know some people that have done really well, and
Oh, yeah.
like
Yeah.
jobs after jobs after jobs. So
Just,
if
yeah,
you've
like,
got that like motivation and hard work to do it, then you could definitely like go for it. But I do sometimes think it is, you've got to be at the right place at the right time and know the
yeah,
right
you
people,
have to know the right people for sure.
because
For sure.
there's just too many. It's so overpopulated that
Yeah.
anyone can do the role. There's
And
another replacement.
you may think you know the right people, and they're not the right people
Yeah.
to know, if that
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah.
But like, I think people who are doing it like as that is their job, they've, like you say, met the right people that then continue to keep pushing them into more and more roles, and like,
It is all to do with your social network,
yeah.
as such. But yeah, right. So that was our experience with college and school life.
Yes.
You've got a question for?
Not questions,
What have
dilemma.
you got?
Got a dilemma, and I've also got a would you this or that. This or that is called.
This or that.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Here we go.
Not related.
So,
It's not related to this. We're breaking it up.
oh
now.
yeah, this is just our
Okay,
little
right.
thing at the end.
This is a dilemma that we've got. Should I be offended that my friend gave me a list of do's and don'ts for when I first meet her partner?
I quite like it.
Do you?
Yeah. It's organised. Right. I don't think.
Would you be offended to say? For
I
example,
wouldn't be offended. I'd be
No.
like, right, you've told me how I need to be.
Yeah,
or...
but that's saying that you don't act the right way at all times. I think.
Yeah, I suppose. But then who does?
Mm.
I wouldn't be offended by it. I'd be like, right, okay. So I'd be a bit like, why does it need to be so perfect? Like, we're just meeting. Surely it should be natural. It should,
That's what I thought. But...
Yeah, no, I do. I get, but then I'm like, okay, there is certain things you don't want me to say about you, or like, he doesn't know certain things, or you haven't had that conversation yet, so don't do this, or don't say things, that. Yeah, just naturally, because you've just met each other or whatever. Yeah. Then I'd appreciate it and go, yeah, no worries.
No, actually, yeah.
But do's and don'ts, I suppose, is a bit.
It's a bit extreme.
It's a bit extreme, yeah. But then I think it's great. I wouldn't be offended if you said to me.
I think I would be offended.
Would you?
Yeah, I think it's like destroying your character.
You're just taking it personal.
Yeah, I'm putting it in the perspective of if my friend said to me, "Do not say this. You do not act like this." I would be like, "Hold on a minute. Who the hell are you?" No.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I personally would not be.
That's
offended.
how I feel about that.
I would say, okay, that's fine. I won't do that, and I won't do this. And also, like, when you have that one friend that
bow down to people like
no,
that.
but you have them friends that if you're drunk or if there's going to be drink involved, then yeah, they do say things you don't want them to say.
I suppose.
So there's just a little.
My answer to that is yes. I'd be very offended.
A little nudge.
But some I wouldn't.
Little nudge. Don't do this, hun. Don't do this,
hun.
That's fine.
Okay.
I'll take it on board. No,
okay.
So my answer, no, I wouldn't be offended.
Right. Ready?
Yep.
Cry in the shower or cry in the car?
What one am I doing?
Yeah.
Oh. Cry in the car, 100%.
Yeah, same.
I think I
cry in the car regularly.
Yeah, the only time I've ever cried like on my own is probably in the shower, in the car.
Yeah, I wouldn't cry in the shower.
I don't think I've cried in the shower. Yeah, but it's not as dramatic because the tears are just getting wiped away.
I'll just randomly cry in the car, but I'm a bit weird like that. I'll get very emotional over certain songs.
Yeah, no, so do I.
And I'll start crying.
Yeah, same.
Or I'll just be having a really bad day and I'll just think.
Yeah, I think I can literally.
It's not actually a bad day, but it's a bad day in your head.
Think, yeah. You literally you can just. Just even if you want to do a little scream, like no one's really you're driving or whatever, it's probably the most perfect time to just let it out.
Yeah.
Whereas in the shower, I mean, we're all gonna hear it, aren't we?
Yeah.
Especially if you live with people. So
depends how loud of a crier you are, really, doesn't it?
Yeah. So 100% car.
And then last one: grand romantic gestures or small daily acts of kindness.
Oh, both.
I know it's hard, right?
Both.
You can't choose both.
Why
You
not?
have to choose one.
Oh,
What would you prefer? I'm
um,
definitely the
I
small
think I was going to
gestures,
say that.
small daily
Yeah,
gestures is
yeah,
more my, because it means that you're being thought of more regular.
daily. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Whereas,
Even just like when Dylan brings home a drink that he knows I like.
yeah,
It's like it's so tiny and so minor that you should know it anyway. But like, it just means that
he's thought of
he's
you.
thought of you when he's
Yeah,
been in that
that's what I'm
shop.
saying. Whereas with like the big grand gestures, I sometimes think it's more of a display for like social media and stuff like that personally.
Yeah.
And I'd prefer someone to be more intimately like romantic.
Yeah,
Do you know
yeah.
what I mean?
I think we're both quite lucky because both of our partners aren't the
Big
whole
romantic
gesture,
gestury
like
on
social
social
media,
media,
like thing. So
Yeah.
we don't ever really
That
need
is
to
true.
worry that that's going to be the reason why they're
Don't
doing
get me
it.
wrong, I don't mind a big romantic gesture. That's fine, but I'd prefer to have small daily little ones.
Yeah, 100%.
Because I think that keeps it more alive.
Yeah, and you like you say that they're thinking of you on a
Yeah,
on a regular basis.
regular basis.
Right, I have got a question.
Yeah.
Which I still don't know the answer to, so I'm hoping you do. When's too old to be going to the club, or is there an age? Is there an age on it? Or
I don't think there should be an age on it, personally, because if that person who, I don't know, say you're like in your, say 65, yeah?
Yeah.
And you still love your music, because there is a lot of older people that are still young for their age, and they still look quite young for their age, I think. And I just think like you only live once, mate. Like you're not too old.
Yeah.
You're not too old to have fun. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. It's not like, oh, I've turned 50 this year, so I'm going to sit in my house,
Yeah.
drink my can of beer,
Yeah.
and do nothing.
Yeah.
No. Go and enjoy your life still.
Yeah, I think if you enjoy it, there is no age on it. But basically, I saw a TikTok and it was like these young people and they were answering it and they were like, maybe like 25, 26. Yeah, that's probably the age. Like, and everyone in the comments is like these.
Mate, who
like,
are these people?
Yeah, but that's
what. Them.
But that's what they think. Like, if you ask
That
like
is
an 18-year-old, they say like 25, 26
Don't get
is
me
too
wrong.
old.
I'm not really a goey outy like all the time person.
I don't like the club.
And I've been somewhere, for example, Cuban in Canterbury, which I don't go there a lot, but if I do go there, sometimes I look around me and think, wow, like everyone's really young.
Yeah, you just
and you do feel older, but then that's because I'm not really like into that going out scene. Whereas there is older people that have done raves their whole life.
Yeah,
so IB for their whole life, like, things like that. So
and they still enjoy it. So friggin'
yeah,
do
and they
it.
probably don't even look around the room and think,
No,
oh, you're like
that's
old
so
enough to be my grandchild. Do you know what I mean? Like, so yeah, I think there's no age.
Yeah, no, there's 100% no age on it. But I think because I'm like, oh, I don't even really like the club, so I could. If someone said to me tomorrow, Summer, you're not allowed to go to the club anymore, I'd be like, fine, no skin off my back.
Same, actually.
So I think when I look at it like that, I'm like, but then I know, like, when we do go out, there's older people and they have the best time. If anything, they're just there, like, enjoying life. And,
yeah,
you know, some of them, it's their only night out, if they're, like, parents or whatever. So it's great. So I don't think there's an age on it. And but then I'm like, I probably won't be in the club at 60.
No,
I'll be in Spain.
Don't know. Yeah,
with a cocktail.
Won't be in this country. Let's put it one way.
I've only got one question.
Is that it?
Yeah.
Was that it? Because she really made the effort for that, didn't she?
I couldn't find anything today.
Honestly, can't get the staff nowadays anyway.
Look,
it's all right. I rounded it up with my little.
Yeah, well, hats off to you. We're 45 minutes in.
Yeah,
we're doing all right.
We'll cut it there.
We will cut it there. I'll do better next time. Promise.
Try harder, please.
Well, that was episode 5. I hope you guys enjoyed, and let us know down below your experiences with college or school, and
any topics that you want us to touch on that we haven't yet put out, or
yes, please
suggested that we're going to do.
Yeah.
Actually, we've kind of had like a response of more people wanting to know more about us. Really.
Yeah, I know.
Which I kind of thought would not be the case.
Yeah, and I feel a bit like
I quite like it.
I quite like it, but
because it means people are more interested.
It is, but also I don't want it all to be about us.
No, we don't. So
we want to
pop
talk
in
about other comments,
or even like if you want to message us with a dilemma, we can just like,
or just a topic that you want our like what opinions. We think, or like just to talk about. Then let us know.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, we'll see you soon for episode 6. And thank you for joining us. Bye from the Southern Sisters. Bye.